Hello, welcome to Skegness Grammar School. My name is Jude Hunton. I'm the new Principal Designate of Skegness Grammar. Skegness Grammar is a historic and unique school. We're really excited to welcome new students into our school to be part of our history, for children to share in the living history of our school. We have high expectations of academic achievement. We also have high aspirations for our young people to become the authors of their own story, to become leaders in the community and beyond. Today's web training is to help you as a parent support your child with the 11+. We hope the training will be informative, useful, and we hope it will be clear. If you do have any questions at the end of this, please feel free to contact the school and we will do what we can to help you. We understand that this is a big point in the life of your child and the life of your family. And we're really grateful for your support and interest today. So, all that remains for me to say is good luck, thank you for your interest, and we hope to welcome your children, your sons and daughters, to our historic school in the future. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'd like to look at non-verbal reasoning types of questions that will come up in the 11+ examination. There's lots of different types. For example, this is the type 6, which is a shape matrix. If you look at this, we've got to eliminate all the incorrect answers first of all. While I'm talking, have a think about which one is correct, A, B, C, D or E. And look at the example, look at the position, size and shapes and the symmetry of the different shapes within the square. 11+ non-verbal reasoning questions are designed to test really a child's ability to work out lots of problems regardless of their knowledge of English. The questions use abstract figures and shapes which require a child to work out similarities in the sequences of shapes and codes. To be successful in non-verbal reasoning, your child will need to be able to see how objects relate to each other and apply logical deduction skills. They'll need to understand maths concepts such as symmetry and rotation. Each question will usually have a sequence of 3 to 5 shapes, and your child is required to find the shape that best completes the sequence. There are numerous elements in each non-verbal reasoning question, such as the outline shape, the fill, the direction of the shape, and so on. The shape may rotate or be inverted or have different layers. It might increase or decrease in size. Some also require basic counting skills, and your child will need to work these out very quickly. Non-verbal reasoning requires good spatial awareness as well, and it's a lot of skill for some children will have naturally, others won't. For those who do not, it's still possible to learn good technique by being highly disciplined and systematic, isolating each element of the sequence or the pattern in turn in order to rule out the options one by one. And the key to answering this kind of question here, or any of the non-verbal reasoning questions, is to eliminate all the incorrect answers first and work backwards till you ultimately will come up with the most logical answer. Besides using formal practice materials, there are numerous activities that your child can develop, but they do need to have a good understanding of spatial awareness. But other examples to improve visual ability and non-verbal reasoning skills are jigsaw puzzles, model making kits, interlocking puzzles and visual logic games such as Nyman's Morris and Sudoku. These are all really good examples, and they also remove the tedium of formal practice. So while I was speaking there, the answer to this one is obviously C. But why? Have a chat with your mum or dad or whoever you live with. Have a think about why the answer might be C and what came up next to it, or the different other types of non-verbal reasoning questions. There's lots of them. In the next example, we're going to have a look at shape analogies. Thanks. Hi everybody, so we're going to have a look at shape analogies, which is the first type of non-verbal reasoning example, if you like. In this particular question, on the left hand side of the colon, we have given two shapes, And what we're trying to do is establish what's happened to the first shape and what is happening as a consequence to the next shape. For example, in here we've got a white circle with a black crescent around it on the right hand side, and something has happened to this as a result. And we can see that obviously it's flipped around, it's a mirror image, and actually the white has gone to a black infill and the crescent has gone to a white infill. Now when we're doing these types of questions, the way to work them out is to look for different changes in colour, shading, pattern, or different sizes or rotations that's happened, and you need to apply the same changes to the shape on the right hand side of the colon. So we know what's happened here, as I've circled in red, and the subject of the question is this shape here. Now we're given a black oval that's sitting behind a white square, and we need to determine what's happened, given the logic on the left hand side of the reflection and the infill change, which one is right, A, B, C, D or E. Now obviously the circle has got a black infill, so we can straight away eliminate A, B and C because we're looking for a black infill square. So it's going to be either D or it's going to be E. So which one might it be? Well, we're looking for a reflection. So can it be E? Well, I don't think it can be because the square is on the same side as the example. So therefore, logically, the right answer through deduction must be D. Let's double check that. So it's reflected around the other side. We've got a black infill square with a white background and the oval shape. So the answer must be D. Hi everybody. So that was one example of how to complete shape analogies. If you have a look at this website called Education Quizzes with your child, you'll see some amazing examples and some really good fun activities that you can do together. If you type into a search engine educationquizzes.com and then click ages 7 to 11, what you're looking for is this icon here of this brain. Click on that particular icon for the non-verbal reasoning examples and just have a go at them. Have some fun. Good luck. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Welcome to a very wet Wednesday where I am, and I think it might be wet where other people are. Please ignore the date on the screen. It is actually the 9th of July. We haven't gone backwards. Apologies for that. Just a quick etiquette reminder about microphones. It's good to see people remember from last week that microphones, please, should be muted throughout the event. The session again will be led by Miss Kate Hallett, our English teacher. If you wasn't here last week, Miss Hallett is our 11 plus specialist too at the school. We're very privileged to and lucky to have someone like Miss Hallett on the team. I'm Mr. Sturman, assistant principal, responsible for the curriculum, and I'll be taking any questions via the chat. Same as last week. If you have any questions throughout the event, please do put them in the chat. That's the little icon next to the hand. If you press that, you'll be able to see the chat. Any questions at all? It worked really well last week. Just put them in the chat, and we'll endeavour to answer them as we go along. This session is about non-verbal reasoning, and sorry, I forgot to mention the other colleague is Miss Clark, who's also on the call, and she'll be answering any questions around admissions. So this session is about non-verbal reasoning test that will be coming up. We looked at verbal reasoning last time, so we're going to get our brains ready and have a go at some of these different types of questions. Just before I introduce Kate and bring her onto the call, we have no questions at all from last week. We asked if you have any further questions, please let us know ready for this event. None came through. However, obviously, if you've got questions today, just leave them through there. There is in the chat a welcome video message from our new principal, who would like you to watch that video. We did try to, when we were practicing, try to put it at the start, but we realised that it was taking up a lot of bandwidth. So it was advised by the IT people, who are far more knowledgeable than me, that we put it as a link in the chat, and then you can watch that video at your leisure, perhaps at the end of the session or later on. But please do watch that video from our new principal. So non-verbal reasoning, what's it about? Well, it's about solving problems, really, and it's about shapes and patterns. Obviously, when you look at them, they look quite confusing to start with, but it's all about training and practice. You wouldn't have done much learning around non-verbal reasoning questions at school, although you probably picked up some of the skills you need for the test. So maybe you've hopefully got hold of a 11 plus practice book and maybe have a look and flick through that. There are lots of different types of non-verbal reasoning questions that crop up, and we've grouped them together into different categories, and Kate is going to take us through those different types of non-verbal reasoning questions that come up. After the training session that Kate's going to do for us, we've prepared an actual 11 plus test. It's a 10-minute test, and we'd like you, your children, to have a go at this test live. So after Kate's finished speaking, she'll hand over to me, and then we'll get your sons and daughters to have a go at the questions. It's just 12 questions, and it's a timed activity. It will take 6 minutes, and that's how long you would have in a real test. You'd have 6 minutes to answer the 12 questions, and then we'll go through the answers and try and spot where you did well and perhaps where you could improve. So without any further ado, we'll crack on. Let's have a good session. Over to you, Ms. Hallett. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Mr. Stearman. Welcome. Sorry about my error with the date. I hope people haven't disappeared, but you will be able to watch this on the school website. So we're going to start looking at non-verbal and spatial reasoning. It's just quite important to make this differentiation because non-verbal reasoning changed about 4 years ago now, and they included spatial reasoning. It's not a great deal different. It has been included before, but not quite so explicitly. So we're going to have a look at a few question types. Okay, so 11 plus non-verbal reasoning questions are designed to test a child's ability to work out problems, and also regardless of their knowledge of English. The questions use abstract figures, which require the child to work out similarities in sequences of shapes or codes. In order to be successful in non-verbal reasoning, you need to be able to see how... I've lost my... PowerPoint there, if somebody's taking control of that.
Sorry to interrupt, Kate. Please, can whoever's pressed take control, don't press that. We found this session, the little button that says take control comes up. If you could please not click that, so Kate could continue. We're not able to stop that, so please don't press take control. Thank you.
Mr. Stearman, can you hear me? Because somebody's just put in the chat that they can't hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah, perfectly. Coming through.
Okay, thanks. So to be successful, you need to be able to see how objects relate to each other, apply logical deduction skills, and understand some maths concepts such as symmetry and rotation. If you'll remember from last week, the actual number work was on verbal reasoning. Each question will have a sequence between 3 and 5 shapes, and you're required to find the shape that best completes that sequence. There are numerous elements, and this is where you have to be able to work quickly. The shape may rotate, be inverted, have different layers, have different colours, using some basic counting skills. And non-verbal reasoning requires good spatial awareness. It's a skill that some children will have naturally. If you don't have this skill naturally, then you can practice these techniques, okay? You need to be highly disciplined and systematic, and that's what I'm going to show you to do today. As well as using formal practice material, it's also a good idea to do other activities with your children. Jigsaws in particular are good, model making, puzzles, visual logic games such as Nine Man's Morris, Sudoku. I play Uno with my children. That helps you build up a speed. Anything that you can do will help, and make it fun, because actually some people do these for fun. Okay, so the question types are where we are spotting patterns. You'll need to be aware of shapes. Sometimes you have to count. Sometimes they're pointing, i.e. arrows that go in certain directions. shading and lane types, position, order, rotation, reflection, layering. We have the odd one out and find the figure like the others, complete the pair, complete the series, complete the grid. There are codes, vertical and horizontal codes, and spatial reasoning is 3D rotation, 3D building blocks, 2D views of 3D shapes, cubes and nets, folding, hidden and connecting shapes is where your jigsaws come in. We do look at online, and here is a link to the non-verbal familiarisation. There are 3 verbal and 3 non-verbal on at this website, so please do make use of those, because if you were buying those, you'd have to pay approximately £20 for them, so it is a good thing. Somebody's raised their hand. Have you got a question?
If you could please put questions through the chat. We're not able to go to the hands up, so if you just use the chat form if you have questions. Thank you. Brilliant.
Thanks, Mr. Sturman. Okay, right. What I'm going to look with you first is spotting patterns and completing the series. So you'll see for this question number 1, we have got a pattern on the left of the vertical line, and on the right, you have to decide which of the answers best fits. Okay. Now, when you are working on your non-verbal reasoning questions, focus on one element of that pattern, right? And the element that I am going to focus on is the centre shape. So if you look at this centre shape here, you will see that it goes from a cross to a diamond. We've got a space and then a diamond and a cross. So the pattern would be, if it were filled in, cross, diamond, cross, diamond, cross. So we know that we are looking for a cross. Now, when we've worked this out, it's a good idea just to take the stress off your brain to cross out those answers that you are knowing it, you know it can't be. So we know it can't be a diamond, so we cross through both of those. And yes, you can write on your answer paper. Don't forget, however, when you've decided what the correct answer is, you have to answer on that answer sheet, otherwise you'll not get any marks. Okay, so now we've got 3 options left. So I'm going to look closer and focus on another part of the shape. So I want you to look closely at the cross. And if you look on the left-hand side of the vertical line, the cross is made up of 2 V's that face each other in the middle. That's the detail that I'm going to look at. If I look at A straight away, I can see that the 2 V's face each other along a horizontal line. Therefore, I know it cannot be that one. So now I'm down to 2 options. Still got to find out what it is. The only thing that I've got left is the circle that's going round. So the circle is increasing, but which way is it increasing? So if we go back to the left-hand side, we've got it starting in the northeast quarter, then it goes over to northwest, so it's turning anti-clockwise. So we know that the next part of the circle that is missing is the one that would come around between southwest. So we know that our answer is B. Okay, these are some. I'm going to let you have a little go at these. I think some people are having some technical issues. I've checked this, so I'm hoping it's on their end. I know Mr. Sturman's ably trying to sort them out. So if you just want to have a look at these, questions 2 to 5, and see if you apply that process that I've just taken you through. So if we take number 2, one at a time, we notice that the shape is changing. Follow the pattern. What shape would you expect to see at the end? Eliminate the ones that are not that shape. You can cross them out. That should leave you with 3 shapes. No, 2 shapes actually, because one of them is no, 3 shapes, I beg your pardon. Okay, when you've worked out what shapes you're left with, go back to your pattern, think what is there that is changing. Well, if you look on number 2, starting at the very left, we've got a circle that goes to an oval, to a circle, to an oval. So if the pattern is circle, oval, circle, oval, circle, we know that within our answer we should have a circle. So we need to cross out those that have not got a circle in. Now that leaves us with B and E. You need to work out which corner this circle is going to rotate into. So if we're starting bottom right, we're going around again.
Sorted. All right, see you later. Thank you, bye.
We're going around anti-clockwise. So your circle should end up in the bottom left-hand corner. So the answer for number 2 is B. I'm going to be quiet for a moment so you can have a go at the other 3. Harley's quick off the mark as usual. You're going to come in with number 3, Harley. We got any answers for number 3, Mr. Starman? Yeah, well done. Unknown. Oh, that's what you could put up on chat. The answer is D. Number 4 is quite.
I was just having a cup of tea delivered. Apologies, everybody.
Yeah, the answer is D. Well done, all of you. Number 4 is quite tricky because it's really busy. Remember, let's just focus on one thing. What jumps out at you on number 4? Is this for number 4 unknown? Because if it is, you're wrong.
A lot of people think it's D.
Is this for number 4? Oh, that was for number 3. Number 3 is D. If we have a look at number 4, what do we think?
Actually, yeah, we've got some mixtures here. We've got a C. We've got C.
Yeah, 3 is D. Well done. What about number? Let's look at number 4.
Yeah, that was Harley. Well done, Harley.
If we follow the process with number 4, I'm just going to talk about this because we don't seem to be getting there. Well done, unknown. That's next unknown. That's just up there. It's not. That's answer's not correct. It's not C. So if you just have a look at number 4, what I focus on first of all here is that we've got a black shape, and as we move into the next square that we've got there with all the shapes in, the black shape has disappeared, and as we move on again, the black shape has disappeared again. So I know that the black shape is going to be disappearing, so I'm not looking for that rectangle in my answer. Okay, so strike out the ones that have got the rectangle on, so it definitely can't be A. I'm left with the shape that's in the bottom right-hand corner, so I know that that one can't be black in the square that's missing because otherwise it would have disappeared. So I'm going to get rid of C because it's not got a black shape in, and D because and E because the strange shape in the bottom there is black, and if that was the case in the one that's missing, it would have disappeared. So the answer for that one, as some of you have noticed quite rightly, is B. Well done. But just follow one. It's just a case of one thing at a time. Okay, right, I'm going to move on to the next question type. When you're doing spotting patterns, we've just seen it in a horizontal fashion in a series, one after the other. This is the same question, but it's presented in a grid. Now, this can be helpful because you've got different set of, or a different direction of a pattern to go. It can either go left to right, up and down, or diagonally, or indeed in a clockwise fashion. So you need to consider each small square on its own as the same as with a sequence. Now I'm going to have a look at this one to show you how to work it out. This is the question as it was on the question paper, and we are missing the bottom right hand square. So the first thing we do, and this is what I've told you to do, is focus on one element. Now what I did when I was answering this question was, when I had a look at it, there are white squares in the corners of each small square. You can see them there. So I thought, right, I need white squares. So I had a look at my answers and I thought, B's not got white squares in each corner, and D's not got white squares in each corner. So it can't be either of those. Got 2 left. So now I need to look at what is the difference. What is the difference in between the 2 that remain? Now you have to look quite closely at this one, because it's a little bit tricky, but if you have a look, it's down here. One has got a solid line and a dotted line, and the other one's got 2 dotted lines. So if I go back to my example, what does it tell me that I need? And I look in the corner, it tells me that I need a solid and a dotted. Therefore, the answer is A. You want the answer for question 5, Jay?
We got Jodie got that right. Jodie and a few others. So that's really good. Well done.
Well done. Perfect. Okay. So these are the same type of question. I've told you, we go in, we look at one thing at a time. I'm going to leave you with these for just a couple of minutes so you can have a look at them.
Just while Ms. Hallett's paused there, do remember to put questions through the chat and also your answers to them. We'll just try and give you a mention if you get them right. Please keep the chat. That'd be great. Thank you.
Whoever just answered with D, you need to go back and have another look. Just for the answers in the chat, what I've done is I've put some examples of questions, because if we look at the familiarisation questions papers that I've asked you to look at, there are only actually 3 types of question, and that's not broad enough for you to get a good view. So this has come off the internet. You just need to Google 311 plus. The answer is C, unknown. Google 311 plus, and then you will come across many different papers, and this is a bond paper, I think, called Test 4. But I just wanted you to see this question type. We're just who's just joined, we're just looking at the questions that are on the screen at the moment. So, yeah, well done for number 2. Whoever just answered that, have a look at number 3.
Number 3 is a bit tricky.
Yeah,
I'm struggling on that one. Although some of our students aren't struggling, they're getting the answers here.
Yeah, well done. Somebody just gave me an answer to number 4. Because I'm daft, I've not got the answer sheet. Just let me work it out. Give me a minute. Yeah, you see, number 4, that's interesting. Whoever just answered it, you are correct. However, that's really sneaky, because there's 2 that could be possibles there, and the difference between the 2 is really tiny. And we answered question 5, didn't we? Well done. Give you another 10 seconds, and I'm going to move on to the next question type. We're whizzing through these, folks. Number 4A, yeah, well done. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, we are spotting patterns in this next type of question. This has come from the paper that I told you to download and have a look at. This is question number 21. So the shape on the left has been transformed into the shape after the arrow. You need to work out what has happened to it and apply the same process to the shape, which is after the colon mark. So with every question on the non-verbal reasoning paper, you need to start with one element. You need to focus on one element. Now, you might not focus on the same one as me, but right now we are going to focus on the shape, the triangle. It has rotated 180 degrees, so you need to do exactly the same to the new shape that you're trying to find. It's pointing down in the original, so the answer needs to point up. Doesn't help us very much, but it does get rid of 1. Next thing, I'm going to focus on something else. So I'm going to have a look at the lines, excuse me, the lines on the top and bottom of the shape. If you look carefully, you can see they stay 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top, regardless that the shape has rotated. so the lines stay the same. But this is where you have to be careful with 11 plus, because it'll trick you, especially as you're working quickly. The lines on the shape that we're trying to match are different. They are 1 on the bottom and 2 on the top. So you've got to keep them the same. Right, we've got 2 options left now. Look very carefully at the difference between these 2. Have I not? Oh, I have. Look very carefully at the difference between these 2. Now, the difference between these 2 is that shape in the middle. And in one of those, it's exactly the same as the example shape that we're trying to match. But if you look at the first series, the square has turned. So the hexagon that's in the middle there needs to turn, and your answer is E. 21, go back, unknown, go back, have a look at it. The shape has changed. This is where you have to be really careful and look at every detail, because 11 plus has left you 2 to choose from. So you're nearly there, but not quite. That shape that's in the middle turns. In your example at the left of the colon, it turns just 90 degrees, really, 90 degrees 45 maybe, from a diamond to a square. So your hexagon has to change as well, does not stay the same as in the one you're trying to match, it turns. So your answer is E. A little bit tricky. Somebody's taken control of my PowerPoint again. I can't work if you do that, I'm afraid. I'm going to have to take it back.
Can you please not press control, whoever did that? Thank you. It does slow things up.
Right, back to the beginning. Sorry, folks. Just get back to that question so you can see it again. So if we just look at this one, we decided the answer was E. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with the questions just for a few minutes again. We've already done one, so basically, let's see how you get. I'm going to leave you with, I'm going to put a timer on for 2 minutes, because that's how long it should take you to do these questions.
Okay, so just while Kate takes a break there, so we're doing a little 2-minute session here. Just reflect on some of these questions, answers that you've got. If you want to put them in the chat, that would be great. If you do need some help, then maybe mums or dads or whoever sat next to you can give you a hand, but it'd be great if you could do them by yourself.
Just giving you 2 minutes here, because that's, you get 30 seconds per question in verbal reasoning. I did say last week, mums and dads, but I've not mentioned it this week. Verbal reasoning is very tightly controlled, and you have 14 questions. They give you 7 minutes, and then they stop you. You put your pencil down and you wait. Then you're told to move on. You cannot go back. You've got to, when you're doing your practice, folks, get used to working really quickly. So I'm putting the pressure on a little bit here. I've had half your time, so you should now be just moving on to question 24. We did question 21. Do you mean question 22? And this is tricky. Right, you've had your time. Shall I talk you through one of the questions if we're finding them tricky? Let's have a look. Oh, 22. Somebody's given me an answer for 22. No, let's have a look at it. Okay, so we have got 2 shapes, an oval and like a little round shape with pie in it. So we've got triangle in the oval is on the left. We're looking at one thing at a time. The triangle is on the left, and then the triangle goes underneath. So your shape that is on the left needs to go underneath. So if you look at our possible answers, we know straight away it can't be D because the triangle's on top. So we've got rid of that one. If you have a closer look at the triangle, you'll also notice that it flips. The point is up when it starts. Then when it's gone through the transition, it's pointing down. So your arrow is pointing down when it starts, so it needs to be pointing up. So we know that it can't be B. Okay, so we've got rid of 2 straight away. Now, the shape that the triangle is in is the oval, and that goes on top. So the shape that is on the left of the one you're trying to match is a square, so the square needs to go on top, so we know it can't be A. So we've got it down by a process of elimination, and this is how you have to treat these questions, by a process of elimination between C and E. But it can't be C, can it? Because the arrow is pointing down. I only missed that, so your answer is E. Okay, this is how we enter a process of elimination, one thing at a time. Shall we have a look at 23, because that's quite difficult. Okay. So on 23, we need to focus on one thing. So I'm going to focus on what's standing out to me is that black triangle that is on the very left. Okay. Now that black triangle, when it went into the shape, changed into white. So my white in my shape that I'm trying to find the pattern for is the one that's black is the arrow. So the arrow has to change to white. So straight away I can get rid of B because it's black, and I can get rid of D because it's black. So I'm now left with A, C, and E. So got rid of 2 straight away. Okay. I've got 2 circles at the top and the bottom of this X, and they have gone to either side of the new pattern. So on the one that I'm matching, I've got 2 triangles. So I know that those 2 triangles need to go to the side. So I need to find a shape with triangles. Well, A's got circles, so it's not A either. C's got triangles, so it could be C. E can't be E because they're not even gone to the sides. So the answer's got to be C. Can you see how we're following with the process of elimination? Answer to 23, C. Do you want me to go through? Do I need to go through any more?
That was a bit tricky, I think, that one for lots of people. No one came through with answers there. That was tough, that one, though.
It's just okay, just focus on one thing with all your questions. Just focus on one thing. Shall I have a look at number 24 then, if we've got a request to have a look at another one? Yeah. So number 24, we've got this, looks a bit like a traffic light, and it's changed into something else. So we need to focus on one thing. So what has happened? Okay, right. The shape, the black circle at the top has stayed the same. So I'm going to look at the black square, that's stayed the same. They've all got a black square. That's not really helped me at all. If you can see, what's happened is the circle at the bottom with the T in has actually gone to overlay the circle at the top. So in the pattern you're trying to find, you need to find a square inside a triangle because the triangle is at the bottom of the new shape. Also, the circle with the T in it has not changed direction because you can just see a tiny, let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. You can just see a tiny little bit of the T sticking out there. So your triangle's not changed. So your triangle needs to be pointing down. So let's get rid of C and D because they are pointing up. So we know straight away that it can't be one of those. No, whoever's just given me the answer for 24, you were incorrect. So let's have a look again. Right, once that little circle has moved, the shape at the top, which is a triangle, has flipped over and it's also doubled. So in the pattern I'm trying to find, I've got a little orange segment, let's call it, and it's, first of all, it's flipped over. So it needs to have the circle at the top and the flat along the bottom. So I know it can't be A because that's the wrong way around. It could be B and it could be E. So as you can see now, I've narrowed it down to 2 possibilities. Right, what's the difference between B and E? Right, it's quite evident. The shape is different. So if I go back to my examples, the actual outside shape does not change. So we'll end up, the answer is E, because B is a completely different shape. So your answer to 24, folks, is E. You just need to, hi Harley, if you're unknown, yes, it is E. We do just need to follow one process at a time. Do you need me to have a look at number 25?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look at that then. Right, on number 25, what's going to stand out to me first of all? Okay, let me have a look. That shape that's in the middle of those two squares that are overlaying each other is actually the shape that it's going to turn into. And on top of that, I'm saying look at one thing at a time, on top of that, it's flipped over. Non-verbal reasoning will hurt your brain. It's flipped over. So I need to look at what shape I've got in the middle. Oh, I've got a diamond shape. So I know my outside shape needs to be a diamond. So straight away, I can get rid of A, B, and E, because they're not diamonds, they're the wrong shape. Now I need to choose between C and D. So what's the difference between C and D? Okay, if you look at your example, the outside shapes that are overlooking are squares, and then they go inside as squares. So if you look at your one that you're trying to find a pattern to, the outside shapes are triangles, so you need two triangles in the middle. So your answer is D. Well done, D. Just one thing. I know they're really, really difficult. Just one thing at a time. Cross that. Work out what it can't be, and that'll lead you to what it can be. Yeah, D.
Well done, Harley. Well done, Connor. Good to see you back this week. Well done, everybody. Good work.
My brain hurts, and I know how to do it.
I often think these are age appropriate, miss. The young people's brains won't hurt.
You have to be really careful. When I was prepping, I thought, oh, I'll sit this test again, and it's out of 80, isn't it? And I think I got something like 65. Not infallible. They are really tricky. So you just have to follow the process, and then you have to get quicker and quicker at it, which is why I direct you to those free tests, because the more practice you can get, the better. Shall we move on from these and see if we've got something that's any easier?
Let's do it. Let's move on.
Let's have a look. Oh, today's that's a bit too big. Okay. Right, I've left the website on the top of this one. It's if you want to copy this down while it's there, because I really like, it's a CGP test, and we sit the GL test, but I really like this test. And the reason why is what we've just done, that pattern, the change in patterns, is done really well on this particular test, because what they do is they use bugs. So the bugs have got legs and antennae and stripes and things, and that I think will help you suss that pattern question. So if you want to have a Google, it's a CGP test. It's a really good test, okay? What we're going to do for this one is matching the shape. So you're looking for properties. You're looking for shapes that have the same on the right, that have the same property on the left, and there will only be one shape because there's only one answer. So I'm going to have a look at one of these questions with you. We are looking at different shapes. We're looking at counting, pointing, shading, position, order, rotation, reflection, layering, lots of different things. So it's very important that you look at one thing at a time. So I'm going to look at this one, which is question 3. Now, we focus on one thing. So I'm going to start by focusing on the lines in the middle. There they are, okay? Every shape has 3 lines. So if I look at my possible answers, could be A, that's got 3 lines, could be B, that's got 3 lines, could be C, but it can't be D and it can't be E. So as you can see, straight away I've relieved the burden by narrowing it down to just 3 shapes. Now I need to focus on something else. So the next thing I'm focusing on is the grey shaded bottom, and they are all grey. All the shapes have a grey shaded bottom. So if we look at our examples, we can see that C is black, so it definitely can't be that one. So now I'm left with 2. And we know this quite often happens. You're quite often left with 1. So what is the difference between these 2? And you're going to have to look very closely for this one. If I make it bigger on my screen, does it make it bigger on your screen? You need to look at that very closely, because to the naked eye, they look almost the same, but they are not, because you cannot have 2 answers that are correct. The points on the top should be black, white, black, white. And B is different. If you have a look at this one, exactly, it's the shading on the teeth. On B, it goes white, black, black, white, black, white, white, black. So your answer is B. Jay, you've got that wrong, you numpty. What are you doing?
Oh, I've got that wrong. I honestly thought it was. Sorry. I'll get it right next time. Sorry, miss.
Excellent. Right, let's just have a look at all of these questions. I'm going to leave you with them. I'll leave you with them for a couple of minutes and then you can work through them. Mr. Sturman, can you see if you can get number 1 right? You'll make me very proud. Focus on one thing, folks. The thing that they all have that is the same. Ah, it's a bit sneaky, that one. Was that you, Mr. Sturman?
I think. Oh,
no.
I think I know it. I think I know it.
Go on then, tell us.
Is it A? Is it A?
It is A, Mr. Sturman. Can you tell me why you think it's A?
Because it's got a vertical line going through it.
Yeah, and?
I don't know. I was moving on to 3. I'm ahead of all of you. So I think I've just got the vertical line. That's all going through the centre. Exactly,
going through the centre. The vertical line goes through the centre because all the others have, well, there's at least 2 there that have got a vertical line, Mr. Sturman, but it doesn't go through the centre. So perfect. Are we moving on to number 2?
Yeah, let's look at number 2.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's a bit tricky. I'll be interested in some answers for number 2. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Number 2 is D for those of you that are answering there. There are 2 curved lines and 2 straight lines. All the rest are all a little bit crazy.
Well done. Well done, Jess, Summer, Emma, Jodie, Christos, Connor. Loads of people are getting that one right, miss. They're getting that one.
Good. What about number 4? Remember, work out what it can't be first. It can't be D, can it? Because that's black. It can't be E because that's all filled in. Can't be A or B because they're more white than they are grey. So yeah, by process of elimination, it's got to be C. Yeah, well done. There's some more of these questions because sometimes, I'm going to show you some more, you get 3 that you can, which can confuse matters. You get 3 that have all got the same properties. But sometimes, as in these examples, you only get 2. This is going back to that non-verbal reasoning paper that I showed you. I told you to download. And again, the reason I'm not using that solely is because there's only 3 question types on there. But if you go to question type, there we go, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45. If you have a go, anybody struggling, pop it in the chat.
Yeah, got a question here, Kyle. Can't understand why 3 is B and not A.
Let me just go back. Oh, Kyle, if you have a look at this, right, I showed you here. If I make it bigger, does it make it bigger on your screen, Mr. Stone?
No, it doesn't, Kate, no.
All right. Right, Kyle, if you look at this, you're looking at the points on the top. So have a look at the ones on the left, and all the points on the top go white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black. Have a look at those closely. They all go white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black. If you look at B, I'll talk you through it. So if we start with this point on the left, it goes white, black, black, white, white, black, white, white, black. And you're looking for white, black, white, black, white, black. Is it difficult to see on the screen? Yeah, it's just that, and this is a point though, Kyle, sometimes you have to look really closely. If, however, you've narrowed it down to 2 and you just cannot see it, do not waste your time on it because you've got 30 seconds and you're better off just putting an answer, just put A or B because you've got a 50% chance of getting it right and move on. I chose that one, Kyle, because it is really quite tricky. Some of these should be easier, Kyle. Have a look. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Stone. 50-50 chance to move on. Some of these should be a little bit easier. So have a look at these. 41. Did I just have a look at? No, I didn't have a look at 41. 41, what did we just say? Mr. Stone, have you got that in the chat? Somebody gave me an answer.
I have, yeah, there's some answers coming through. Summer and Connor have responded, or they're both 2 different responses, though. Summer thinks it's B. Connor thinks it's E. So there's some differences of opinion there.
Well, one of them is right. So we know then that the answer is either B or E because one of those is right. So let's have a look at the properties that we've got. And the chat keeps going over the top of it.
Yeah.
So not through the paper.
Some consistency of answers coming through now. I won't reveal the answer unless you want me to, Miss, but do you want to talk it through?
What answer? Well,
E. Everyone's saying E now.
Well, it's not. It's B.
Do you know what? I thought it was B. That's genuine too. I thought it was B. Come on, kids, don't lose it. You're doing well. You were doing well back then.
Do you know what though? To be fair, I think this is 11 plus tricky. I think this one is really difficult, and we've come down to B or E quite easily because of the shapes are all the same. Now it could be E, and you could be tricked into thinking that it was E because it's almost the same as the second shape, the circle with the squares in it, and one of them's black. But it's got no relation to the first shape. So the first one is we've got 3 shapes in every instance that are the same, aren't there? So do you know, that's one of those where I can't tell you why it's B, but the answer is B.
Is it because there's squares, perhaps, that have been generated by both shapes?
I can't understand why there's that hexagon over the top, though.
It's creating a square, though, isn't it? And the correlation between both the examples have both got squares in. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes, like I just said to Kyle, you have to work on it. No, whoever's just asking about number 42, you need to look a little bit closer. There is something missing. You've not looked at every detail when you've gone to C. It's a good guess, but it's not right. Yeah, they all have 3 squares. Yeah, I think that might be unknown. I think you're probably right with that. They all have 3 squares. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, you're right. Naughty.
It's question 42 to do with things are rotating, aren't they?
No. The rotations have no significance whatsoever.
Okay, I'll rule that out. Okay.
Somebody just gave me an answer C. It's possible, whoever it was that said it was C, have you gone back and had a look and worked out why it's not C? Let's just talk through this one quickly. In each of the examples, we've got an arrow, and the arrow points directly at that little circle. So it can't be A, okay? The arrow is also floating in the middle. It's not touching any of the sides. So it can't be B and it can't be E. So you're left with C and D. And this is where you've got the tiny little detail that was missed. If you look at C, there's not that little line at the top of the arrow. Because in your example that you're trying to find them to match with, they've both got a little line at the top of the arrow. So the answer is D. So whoever said C in the first instance, it's really difficult. We're working quickly. Got to be really accurate as well.
Well done, Connor, Christos, Finley, Jess, doing well there. Go Jess again, Harley. Well done, folks.
I think 43 is really tricky. I'll leave that answer hanging a minute, just while we all have a look at 43. This was, when I did it again, this was one of the ones I got wrong. Like, oh, bother. And it's fairly straightforward, I guess. Yeah, let's put you out of your misery. B is correct. Exactly 1/3 of the shapes is coloured in, and the others do not have 1/3 coloured in. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Well done, folks. I was racking my brains, but it's obvious, isn't it, that?
What about 44, quickly? Whoever that is, you're very speedy. Well done. Whoa, Mr. Sturman, you impressed me beyond.
Yeah, I was just copying off Connor and Summer. No, I wasn't really. I did genuinely get that. I got that, honestly, I did.
Yeah, well done. That's E. Right, I'm going to move on just to the answer for question 45 is C, folks. So, but I'm going to move on. Let's have a look at a little different question type. Okay, coding. Now then, the codes, this is also off that non-verbal reasoning I told you to download. and I've started at number 66, and I'm not going to lie, I started at number 66 because I can't actually work out 61. But hey, for those of you that can, you can let me know. I know what the answer is, I can't work it out. So I'm starting at number 61. Sometimes you have horizontal codes, and sometimes you have vertical, where it's just the way they lay out the questions. These are vertical codes. Okay, so I'm going to have a look at this one. Right. Oh, I spelt questions wrong. Please forgive me. It's a typo. As with all non-verbal reasoning questions, we need to establish a pattern, and we need to look at the pattern we've already got and see what we can work out from that. So we are focusing on one thing that is the same. That's what we do. And here we go. We've got two J's. So something about those J's is the same. I'm going to work through this one for you, but it's changing up. My screen is changing. I'm going to work through these two now. We've got two J's. What is it that is the same about the J's? And it's the direction of this, whatever it is you want to call it in the middle, this club. And what it is that the black element of these shapes is to the left. So if we look at the shape we're trying to match, our black element is to the right. So we know, therefore, that it must be K. So it's not B and it's not E. Now we need to work out what the next one is. Now, all of these codes are different. X, Y, and Z are all different. So what is it that is different about those pictures? And we can see that we need to count here. We've got 1, 2, and 3 shapes in the middle. So the bottom code, because that's what different, must apply to those. So we're looking for one shape. So our bottom code is X. There we go, KXD. We had some answers coming through there. Were we right with the D? Yeah. Okay, let's go and have a look at this coding then. Let's see if we can apply the same. Remember, when we look at them here, you're looking for what's the same. And on 67, we've got 2 C's and 2 D's. So what's the same about C? What's the same about D? What are you looking for? And then 2 P's that are the same. What's the same about that? What does that apply to? What code do you need? Oh, Mr. Sturman, you're looking at number 67. Yes, well done. Nice straightforward one, that. Yeah, that one really quickly. What unknown, what's that for? You're giving me E, but I don't know what number for. Is that for 67? The answer is E. Have a look at 68.
68, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
This is hard.
Right, let's focus on one thing then so we can eliminate what we've got. Right, if we look at the top, we've got F, G, F. What is the same about those two Fs?
Top right.
The thing that is the same about the two Fs is that circle. No, whoever that is, it's not D. Right, okay, let's have a look at it. The thing that is the same is that circle. And what's happening with that circle is the left-hand side is shaded. So let's have a look at our shape to start off with, and our right-hand side is shaded. And if we look back, we can see that that is G. So we're looking for a G. So it's not B and it's not B. Right, then we need to work out what the pattern is. And we've got P, Q, and R. They are all different.
Just confirm we're on question 68, aren't we?
Yeah, we've worked out that it's our top letter is a G, so we need a P, Q, R, and R. I need some brain box to help me out here.
We've got some mixed responses. Finley thinks it's E, Connor thinks it's E, but Summer thinks it's A, and she has got a question mark next to it.
Can Summer unmute and tell me why she thinks it's A, because she's correct?
Can you unmute, Summer, and let us know what you think?
Why do you think it's A? You are correct, Summer. Explain to me why
Is
you
it
came
the faces of the rectangles?
What do you mean by the faces of the rectangle?
The faces. Because one of them is in the middle, one of them is at the top, and one of them is at the bottom.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. Perfect. It's the position of the rectangle. Because what I was looking at, I was looking at the rectangle in relation to the triangle. Whoa, genius, Summer. Yes.
Well done, Summer. Do you want a job, Summer? Do you want a job, Summer, for the summer?
Perfect. Perfect. However, if we're stuck on that one, we've got it down to 3 choices. Just choose one of them and move on. Well done, Summer. Thanks for answering that mystery to me, because I just could not see it. Let's have a look at 69, see if Miss Hallett can sort this one out. What have we got the same? We've got 2 Ds. An E and an F. Well. Two R's and 2 S's. Ah, oh no. Okay, right. My S is a vertical line and my R is a horizontal line. So I need an horizontal line, so I know that I am going for C or E. I've narrowed it down to 2 because I need an R on the bottom. What do I need on the top? Yep, whoever that is correct. So I've got D, E, F. I've got 2 D's. Counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's counting the sides of the shapes here, and I need one with 6. So my answer is
Is it C? Is it C?
69. Yeah, it's C.
Oh, great job. Well done, Christos, Finley, and Connor. Well done.
And an E on the top because I needed 5. I need to keep practicing with these. Do you want to just work through the last one? Right, what have we got? We've got 2 T's. Ooh, the shape is the same size in the T. Okay, so we've got large shape, medium shape, small shape, and we've got medium shape. So my top letter would be a U. So it's either D or E. P, Q, R, S, they're all different. Well, they've all got an arrow in that's pointing in a different direction. My arrow is pointing down, so it must be R. So number 70, U, R. Yes, well done, E. Some of them are really easy, some of them are really tricky. Thanks, Summer, for your help with that. You claim to be a genius. Just goes to show we just need practice. It's difficult when we're sitting there, so we've got 50 minutes and lots of different questions. I'm going to move on. Okay, views of shapes. Now, these questions want you to change your perspective, so where you look at the shapes. Again, excuse my typo. In this case, the question wants you to look down from above. Which option is a top-down 2D view of the 3D shape on the left? So let's just have a look at question 1. So we're looking down from above. So when you're looking from above, when you look down on this tower, you cannot see this tower. You cannot see any height. You can only see that there is one face of one square. So what we know here is that we've got 3 squares and they look like a flat row. We know this anyway because our answers are, this is our only option. We know it's a flat row. We also know that there's only 1 square at the front. So check out the answers and eliminate the impossible ones. And if you look at B, it's got 2 squares at the front, and D, that's got 2 squares at the front. So then we're left with 2 options. So you need to work out the positioning of this square, and it's in the center. So the answer for this one is C. Yeah, you are correct. So you're looking down, you need to be able to ignore that tower and look down from it from on top. So I'm going to leave you with these, the next 2, 3, and 4, just to have a look at, see if you can work them out. I'll tell you the answers in a second. 2, 3, and 4. Oh, that's number 3. Whoever just put in for number 3, have a look again. Yeah, well done. We'll just have a look at those. So number 2 is A. Number 3 is D. You've got it crossing. You can't see that tower and there's nothing behind. And number 4 is B. Fairly straightforward. So let's just have a look at these. They're a little bit trickier. See how you get on with these. The viewpoint again from above. Remember, you can't see that tower. I'm going to stop brain teasing you very shortly. We're getting to the end. Yeah, let's have a look at number 5. You've got 2 at the back. You can just see in that corner 3 and then 3 sticking out the front. So yeah, number 5 is A. Well done. Yeah, well done.
I love these questions because I teach design technology. I'm always working in 3D and 2D, so I really get these. The students are doing really well here on the chat, Miss.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? It's a well-known fact that it shouldn't be, but boys' spatial awareness is better than girls, I'm afraid.
Oh,
So, yeah. But non-verbal reasoning is not my forte. Number 6, D. Yeah, we've got all those gaps. Well done. Number 7, A, and number 8, A. Yeah, well done. Okay. Just I'm just going to give you a little word of warning. I'm going to apologise for my photographs on these next slides because my spatial reasoning resources is a bit limited. So I've taken this out of a book that Mr. Shears has borrowed and hidden somewhere. I've had to photocopy. Okay. The viewpoint, folks, is not always from above. As you can see here, there's a little eye, and this is what they'll show you. There's an eye on the first example looking down, but you could also have them looking from the side, from the other side, or from the back. You just need to be really careful that you take note of where the viewpoint comes from. Okay. Now I'm also going to use these blocks again just to tell you about another question type, and this is a count the blocks question type. Now I'm having to use these because there's no examples of this question type out there, but it has appeared on the 11 plus paper a couple of times, so you need to be able to recognize that this could happen. So they're quite tricky because some of the blocks are hidden. So here we go. I've written one out for you here. This is what it would look like. It would say count the blocks and would give you some possibilities. Now you've got to make sure that you can recognize these bits as gaps. There's 3 gaps there where there is no shapes, because if you see there's no lines joining it up, so you need to be able to count the blocks. Okay, and you're quite right, the answer there is 10. Now then, again, yeah, the answer was D there, folks. Well done. So again, you also need to be able to recognize that as well as gaps, be aware that there are blocks behind and underneath. So you need to be able to count those as well. No, it's not 8. You're right, all those other people that are coming in, it's actually 9, because there's 1 underneath at the bottom, because you can see the line for it. Okay, I'm sorry I've not got any. Well done, Mr. Sturman. I've not got any examples of this for you. Okay, now the blocks are not always nice and neat little squares. Sometimes they're L-shaped, sometimes they're hexagons, sometimes they're interlocking. These questions are really tricky, and I apologise that I've not got any other sample questions to share with you. I just wanted you to be aware of that. Okay, last question type I'm going to have a look at here, and then we've got time to do Mr. Sturman's little 6-minute quiz and then come back and answer that. Reflections, okay? Just a word of warning here. On these questions that I found for us here, the reflection line is vertical, straight up the middle. It's not always. Sometimes it's on a slant, and that can make it really tricky. So let's have a look at this one. The line of reflection is a mirror. So the detail that is closest to the line of reflection will be the same on the other side. So the detail here is this straight edge of the arrow. So this straight edge needs to be closest on the other side. So again, remember, process of elimination. It's not that one, and it's not that one. Now, we're left with 2. Now you need to look at these two very carefully because there's something different about them. And if you look, the triangle is different. On one, the triangle is pointing to the edge, and on the other, the straight edge of the triangle is along the edge. So if we have a look at what we're reflecting with, knowing that the point that's nearest the line of reflection needs to be the same here, the triangle has the flat edge against the flat edge of the arrow. So the answer is C. Yeah, well done. Have a go. Where have I put them? Sorry, have a go. Should have put those in the middle. So I've got number 2, number 3, and number 4 to have a look at. Yeah, well done. 2 is fairly straightforward, isn't it? Have a look at number 3. Well done. You got with the reflections. Sometimes they put the angle of reflection underneath. No, you need to look at number 4 again, unknown. You're rushing. Don't rush. Look at number 4 again. It's you got that one wrong. Yeah. Four is not A. Whoever's trying to convince me it is, it's not. Whoever just came in then, you're quite right. 4 is C. Lovely. Fairly straightforward. What I'm just going to do is just going to show you some different types of spatial reasoning questions, because like I've already said, it's a little bit difficult to get hold of resources for these, okay? So sometimes you have to work out the number of blocks. So for instance, the figure on the left here has got 3 blocks in. Can you see how that's a little bit tricky because one of those is stood up? So your answer is B. Sometimes you have to complete the shape. It says here, without rotating the figure on the left, work out which option fits into it to make a 3D shape, which is in the grey box. The colour's not very good, which is on the left. So you get rotation shapes, complete the shape. 3D figures, again, rotation. Now, fold along the line, my favourite, not. And the one that's below it, fold and punch, even more difficult. This is really easy because you can see a piece of paper has been folded in 4. 1 hole's been punched in it, so you would have 4 holes. So the answer is C. That's fairly straightforward. But when 11 Plus put these questions on, what they do is fold a little bit in and then a little bit over, and they are really quite difficult. So if you can get hold of some fold and punch questions to have a look at, that would be very useful. And then cube nets. Now, I like a cube that is laid out like the one is on the top, or on the first one in the second question with partial nets, but sometimes you get them laid out in all kinds of funny directions. So you need to practice with cube nets, help with your social spatial reasoning, your social distancing, your spatial reasoning. And then there we've got at the top where you're making a 3D shape out of another net. And then also how a dice has been, or a die has been rotated. That's the end of my presentation, Mr. Sturman. I hope that was useful. I don't claim to be an expert. I find it quite difficult myself. So I'm really pleased now to be handing over to you for that 6-minute test.
Thank you very much, Miss. Thank you. I really enjoyed that. That was great. Thanks, everybody. How are our brains? Hopefully they're all good and still ready to go on this little test. How are we doing for time? 5:05. Miss Hallett, could you check in the chat while I'm doing this bit? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to try and share my screen, so just bear with me a minute, please. Just while I jump onto just before I jump onto the little test we are going to have a look at, hopefully you can see this screen. No plugging, but CGP, we have mentioned it throughout the presentation. If you have a look at this book, this is a study book that parents can buy. You can buy from WH Smith's or online, and essentially it gives you a really good overview of the different types of questions that you can do. Miss Hallett's gone through today. Some of you might already have this. It wasn't very expensive, but it talks about the different types of non-verbal questions. There's some spotting patterns and shapes that Miss was talking about, and little techniques on how to answer these questions with some nice little practice questions in there. So if you've got time and you've got a bit of cash, I would recommend having a look at that one. I know you're quite useful for when my kids did the 11 plus, so have a look at that. Right, I'm just going to come off that and share this little test with everybody. Hopefully you can see this. There are 12 questions that we're going to have a look at. Bear with me a minute. I'm just going to pull that back up again. Get rid of that and that.
Do you mind, Jay, if I do the test as well?
No.
So if we don't put answers, if we just do the test in 6 minutes and don't put answers in the chat, and then we'll come to the mark our. I'd like to do that. I'd like to do this.
Cool. I'm just trying to work out how I can get this to view full screen. I might have to make my screen a bit smaller. How can I view this? View. What about full screen read mode? Can we all see that?
What am I supposed to be looking at? I can just see the rotation at the moment.
Can you not see the questions?
No, I can't see the test yet.
Right, hang on.
Oh, you guys, me, that's a problem then. Somebody's saying in chat that they can, Mr. Sturman.
Let's go back then. I'm going to go back. Right, can we all see the questions now?
No, not yet.
In the chat, just put it in if you can't see the question, just put it in the chat if you can't see it.
We've got quite a few no's, more no's than yeses. I don't know why that is. If
right,
you
I'm going to try and share my screen again. Hang on.
Yes, there it is.
Okay, folks. Are we all happy? Yeah. So we've got 12 questions. Miss Caddick's gone through quite a lot of these. 6 minutes. And if someone can set a timer for 6 minutes, and we'll come back in 6 minutes. Okay, folks, good luck. Off you go.
Thank you. No answers in the chat, folks. Let's just all have a go. Can you make it? I'm on a tablet. I can make mine bigger.
Mr. Sturman, could you make the screen any bigger? We can't see it very well.
What's that like?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Problem is that I can't get the
I can only see the first 4 questions on my screen now.
Yeah, that's the problem. I can't.
That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah.
Can't show all of them. Yeah, I'm going to just go back to that read mode.
Okay, thank you.
Let's look really carefully. Was that time, Miss Hallett? How long have we got left? How long have we got left, please? Someone setting the timer. Miss Clark, can you hear me?
Hi, Mrs. Sturman. I can hear you.
Can everybody, Kate, can you hear me? I think we're out of time there.
I think we should be out of time now.
Yeah. Is everybody back on the call? Ready to go? Kate, are you with us? I think maybe she's still working.
Sorry, answers. Yep. Ready for answers now. Time is up.
We're all back in the room. Great. Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. Going to pull back these questions. Okay. So let's have a look at these then. Any what we'll do is we'll go through them and then we'll have a look, see how you've done. Is my pen going to work? Hopefully it is. So we've got these 12 questions. Find the figure in each row that is most unlike the other 4 figures. So when we look across here, we can eliminate the ones that it isn't. I'm not going to do this for everyone, but obviously we can see they've all got squares around them. So it's obviously not going to be. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Let me just sort that one out. Not going to be these. Not going to be those. So the answer to that one is D, because it's got a circle around it. Question number 2. So here we've got a lot of dots, and then we've got some broken circles around the outside. What can I see? Well, I can see the broken circles in A, B, C, and D are all the same, but the D one has got very small dots around it, so it must be D. Question 3. We've got a shape with some squares in it. What's happening here? Well, I can see the shape in the middle. The squares are all the same, with the exception of D. So it must be D because that shape in the middle has rotated. Question 4. We've got a bunch of arrows. What's happening in the arrows? What's the relationship? I can see that. All the arrows are going in the opposite direction, except B. Those 2 arrows are going in the same direction, so it must be B. Let's have a little scroll now to 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got to find which one of these 5 squares completes the sequence on the left. Question number 5 looks like a dice. It's going 1, 2, 3, 4. That's obviously going to be easy. It's not. It can't be. It can't be any of those because it's going up in a sequence. So it must be A. Must be 5. Question 6. Got a shaded arrows. What's happening here? And question number 6. I think they're rotating. If we look at that one, the first one is there, then it rotates. I think that the answer to that one is, I think it's D.
Yeah, can I just stop you on that, Mr. Sturman? Just a point about that is that's fairly straightforward, but in the test, If the rotation's not quite as clear as that, just focus on one thing. You can eliminate 2 at 3 straight away because A, B, and E are different arrows, so it cannot be them.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can eliminate. We can eliminate.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, and then we can also
Yeah.
process of elimination. Definitely. Okay, question 7 looks like a flag. So we've got a star on the left and a black infill on the right. What's happening here on question 7? Is it like a mirror image? Let's have a look. Don't think it can be. I don't think it can be B. I don't think it can be D or E. I'm going to go for, and I am guessing on this one, C. Is that right? I think it's C. Yeah, it's C. Question 8. So we've got looks like a brick wall here. What's standing out from here is this little black infill. So it's on the 3rd row down, and then on the next one it's on the 2nd to last row down, and then it's on the bottom row, and then it's repeating back to the top. So I must be looking at something which got a black shape on the 2nd row down. Well, it's not that one because that's different. It's got to be E, and I say that because that black little tile is on the 2nd row down, so it must be E. Hope we're doing okay, folks. Question number 9. Let's have a look at this question 9. Find the figure on the right which is most like the 2 figures on the left. I've done some of these. So question number 9. So we've got the square. This shaded square appears to be on the front. It's the front of the circle. So I'm looking for that one. Process of elimination. Well, it can't be A because that's a circle, so it's got to be C. Question number 10. Question number 10. I got as far as number 9 when I was practicing these before. Let's have a little whip through this. I think.
Follow the process for me, Mr. Sturman. So, cross out the ones it can and it can't be.
Well,
show me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get back to my. I think it is. Well, it can't be A because it's got no grey in it, and it can't be B because there's no grey in it. It can't be C because that's a different style completely. It can't be D because that's got some grey in it. So it must be E. That's my logic. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I came up with. Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go. Process of elimination and deduction. Question 11. Okay, this one we've got some stars and some love hearts. Well, I think I would go for. And I say this. I think it can't be any of them other than B. And I think I've removed all the others because there's no squares in all the others, so it must be B.
Yeah.
That's my logic there. Question 12. Question 12. Gosh, this is a bit tricky. I bet all the kids have got this right. I'm going to go for. Well, it can't. What am I looking for? I've got a grey on the left and a white on the other side. Right, I think it's C.
Right. If you're struggling with this, from the logic that you just said, it can't be D and it can't be E, can it?
No, it can't be A because the white shape is the same size as the grey. It can't be B because, and you know what? I'll be honest with you, miss. I'm going to plumb for 50-50, so I'm going on C on this one. That shows you that this is a live event. I think it's C.
It's C because A, they're both the same size, and in B, they're both pointing in the same direction. So it's definitely C. But I've got a difference of opinion. Does anybody out there have a difference of opinion on number 7? Because I don't agree with you.
On which number, miss? Which number?
Number 7.
7. Let's go back to it. What do you think, folks?
What have you got for number 7? Because
I put C.
Have you got the answers, Mr. Sturman? Because I'm not convinced.
I can find them. Let me have a look. 3 seconds. Let me grab my book. Hang on.
Actually.
Right. What question is it? Question 7.
Question 7.
Question 7. It's like a mirror image, isn't it? Well, the answer is actually it's C. It is C.
I can see where I've gone wrong. I got that one wrong.
Did you?
Yeah.
Gosh, just hope for us yet.
Yeah, got that one wrong.
Right. Okay. Well, hopefully, how is it? What's it looking like in the chat? How are people getting on?
Everybody's done really well. Most people finished early, so I told them to go back and check. And some people got all of them right, 11, 10. Some people got a couple wrong. Don't expect that you'll get them all right, especially when the pressure's on time-wise. But you've done really well. You should be really proud of yourselves. I'm proud of you. Well done, Sam. You've got 11 right. Well done, Alison. Finley got them all right. Told a couple to go back and check them. Somebody got 3 of them wrong. It's still fantastic. The pass mark for non-verbal reasoning, you really need to be aiming to get about 80% right. But if you don't forget as well that the 11 plus is age weighted. So if your child has a birthday, say somebody has a birthday on the 1st of September and somebody in their class at school's got a birthday on the 31st of August, that's not fair that they are tested together. So the 11 plus adds some marks on for those younger children. So it's quite difficult to work out what the pass mark is, but you need to be aiming for around about 75 to 80%. So good luck. And thanks, Jodie. I'm glad you've learned some new things. Excellent. Well done, everybody. Really,
I'm just going,
really
well done, everybody. I'm just going to reveal my face. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry to put you off your tea. So, hello, everybody. I'm Mr. Sturman, the assistant principal, and we've brought to you today non-verbal reasoning. I think it's Miss Hallett going to show herself. There's Miss Hallett.
Yeah.
We've spent the past 2 weeks hiding, and here we are. Miss Clark, are you going to reveal yourself, Miss Clark, or are you going to stay hidden? You can stay hidden if you like.
Whoever can't see us, it's lucky. We've been in lockdown for a number of weeks. Not looking good, no haircuts. Okay,
well, listen, everybody, thank you for that. If there are any questions from the last session last week or this session, please feel free to put it in the chat. Like I said, this is being recorded, so you can watch it. If you go to the school website and go to admissions and 11 plus section, you'll see this video recording and the one from last week. And don't forget, there are plenty of resources on the website for you to dip into and have a look. But please, lots of practice. That's the key to it. Lots and lots of practice, and just have fun with it. And make sure as well not to forget the importance of reading. I can hear Miss Hallett in my head reminding you all to read over the summer. Make sure you do lots and lots of reading, and enjoy your summer holiday too. So I'm going to pause there. Any comments from Miss Clark or Miss Hallett before we finish?
No, just thank you very much. Thank you for your thank you.
We've had some really positive comments in the chat again, Miss Hallett.
Excellent.
Yeah, everyone has loved the session.
Great
Good.
stuff.
Make sure you let's just put something in chat because that'll stay there. Make sure you make the most of all the online resources. Don't be spending money unnecessarily. There's plenty out there.
Okay, and hopefully
I do recommend Mr. Sturman's book. That is a good book. That would be good. Yeah.
Great. Okay, good luck, everybody. Mums and dads, thank you for your patience. All the best. Have a great summer. Keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Just waiting for somebody to go. Katie, bye, darling. Then we can stop the recording. Katie, there. If you hang up, Katie, then we can stop the recording. Thank you. I'll leave it there because Jay will clip the recording anyway. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Kate. That was really good.
Excellent. Thanks. Bye. 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 Bye.